Hello and welcome. Today, my task is bittersweet. Today, we're going to remember a very special person, someone who has been special not only to our family here at the Comcast Public Access, but all around Putnam County. Gil Maile was a person we will not easily forget. His time here at Comcast, his time as a musician, his time as a veteran of the United States, his time with family, with the United Way, with Toys for Tots. Gil Maile was a remarkable man. And today, you are going to have the opportunity to meet some people who also will never forget him. Our first guest is one who knows Gil better than anyone could know him. Someone who was married to him for 40 years. Dee Dee,
thank you
it's a
for
treat having you here. No one knew Gil like you knew Gil.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about who this incredible man was.
Well, when I first met him, he was playing in a band,
Yeah, of course.
and that was 44 years ago.
Wow.
And 4 years later, we were married.
Yep. And he was not always a drummer, right? Even
No.
though he was a well-known drummer.
No, he started out in school playing the trumpet,
Oh, wow.
and then he went to the drums.
Wow.
And he had a lot of musician friends, and they would come to visit at the house, and I didn't know anything about music. And they would talk about these different bands, and I didn't know who they were.
Yep.
So at times I just got tired of listening to it.
No, he was also a Vietnam vet, right?
Yes. He
No.
was in,
Was that before your time? During your time?
when I met him, he was 2 months out of the
Wow.
service. Yeah.
Wow.
And we just hit it off. He was my rock, he was my soulmate.
Oh, boy, I can understand that. He was rock for a lot of people.
Yes, he was.
So he was a very special person. Now, you have someone also here with you. Steve, you also knew Gil for a real long time. You are a musician yourself. Tell me a little bit about your association with Gil.
Well, I met him back in the early 70s. We had gotten together. We were in a band together. He was a drummer at the time. And I've probably been in about 7 or 8 different bands with Gil.
So he's been in a number of bands.
Oh, yeah. He's been in more bands than I've been in my lifetime.
And he played the drums in his spare time, right?
Yeah, spare time.
He would tap on anything, and it's just like, oh, you know, you just
Yeah, he was amazing. He was in and out. I mean, it must have been incredible for you to keep up with this guy.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Now, you have some special things here. This is a photo of the two of you celebrating the 40th year anniversary. And now here's, Steve, there you are.
Family Tradition Band.
There it is. Now, it's called Family Traditions. You were all like brother-in-laws, right?
We formed the band, it was probably about 5 years ago. We formed the band. There was 3 brother-in-laws in the band, her brother, her husband, and myself, who were all brother-in-laws, and we had a 4th person, and we kind of told him he was our adopted brother.
There you go.
But yeah, we played quite a bit. We played up the VFW, sold the place out 3 times. People liked the music that we played. It was older country music, but up where we live, people like that kind of music.
So you played out at different places around town?
We've played over at Castle Point a few times, yeah.
Wow.
We've made our rounds a little bit.
Yeah.
But there we are at Castle Point with a different band. That one was called Three Bridges Band. And that's my daughter and her fiance and Gil and myself. Yeah, we did a lot for the veterans. He always wanted to do these shows for veterans, for nursing homes. We've done shows.
Yeah, we'll be having several guests from the veterans groups.
Right.
He was very active with the veterans groups.
Yes.
Yeah, I was.
A testimony to that was the tribute that you had for him a couple weeks ago, or
Last Saturday.
oh
the
my
9th,
goodness!
the
I
9th.
walked in there and it was like the United Nations. I mean, the guys in uniforms. He had so much respect from the veterans, and I know he worked with Vet to Vet. And again, we're going to be talking to people from there, people who knew him in that capacity. I also want people to know that in addition to all of these things, this man carried a full-time job, right?
Yes, he did.
So, I know he worked with the Mental Health Association. At this time, what I'd like to do is, I'd like to bring on Megan Castellano. Megan worked with him at the Mental Health Association, and I know that a couple other people did as well. Megan, you had the unique opportunity of seeing this guy almost every day. Talk to us a little bit about your association with Gil.
Sure. I did have the pleasure of working with Gil for 17 years.
Wow.
He worked for a long time for the state, for their state-operated outpatient clinic. It used to be Hudson River, and now it's Rockland Psych. And he was fantastic. They hired him as an activities coordinator, and it was a perfect job for him.
Good choice.
Absolutely. So he did an amazing job of getting the clients involved. He just was such a great listener. His door was always open, and he just really cared about people. And so it was a perfect fit for him, for his skill set, and for the people that were there. Just
Yeah.
a lot of strong
And he
connections and friendships.
And he also set up for them to sing for the nursing homes
So
as well.
it's just nice listening to you guys talking about music.
Yeah.
So when I think of him, I see him sitting behind his drum kit. But at the office, he did put together two fantastic groups, the Bright Notes and the Upbeats. And just as you said, it was their mission to go around to nursing homes and to go to Castle Point and go to the VA. And there he is.
Yes.
And really
At his
performed.
drum, of course.
But I think what was so great about it is that it was something that
Yeah.
he loved so much, and that he shared that with all of the clients.
When you talk about how much he gave to other people and how compassionate he was, I have to tell you a quick story. I told him that my son was a vet, and teasingly, I said to him, and he's a single vet, by the way. If you know any single girls, let me know. By the next time I saw him, he had a girl for my son, and they dated for a while, and always thinking of other people.
Absolutely.
He was so happy that he got these two together.
Oh, and you know, and they were so grateful to him because my son at that time needed a pick-me-up, you know, and he even helped John Borges and Carl Rohde. They went and got him a job, and it's not a job, they got him a career. And the three of them together made sure that he had something. So they changed his life. And my son's life isn't the only life that Gil has changed.
That's so true.
Yep.
He worked for the state for a long time, and when he retired, he couldn't leave the clients, so he came and volunteered for us for a long time, which was great. You know, doing activities and things in the community, continuing a lot of that great work. But I really think that his true love was Vet to Vet, and that was, you know, where he really felt the most at home. So I'm happy that that's going to be, you know,
Megan,
talked about
thank you
today.
so much for
Thank you
sharing.
for having me. It's
Oh,
my
are you
honor.
kidding?
Thank you. Yeah,
I know
thank
you were an important part of his life.
Thank you.
He was an important part of all of our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Stevie.
At this time, as we said, Gil was a Vietnam vet. When his time with Vietnam was over, his time serving the country was not over. He has been a member of veterans organizations since then.
Yes.
Our next guest is a person who asked to be here today, Jim McCarthy. Jim, glad to have you here. You are a member of Vet to Vet.
Yes, I am.
You've known Gil on several occasions. You even went to watch him play.
I remember meeting Gil at MHN. I was always struck by, you know, the sense of volunteerism and how calm he was and how caring he was about all his clients
Yeah.
and the people, you know, getting them involved in music. And I could hear the group singing sometimes when I was in the office. But I remember my wife and I going up to the Reverie in Patterson, a local,
Yes.
and seeing him perform there.
It's like seeing a different man.
Absolutely, and you know, when he then took up photography, and he took part in our art show last November, during the month of November, because November honors veterans. And I was struck by how quickly and how talented, how quickly he picked up photography, how talented he was, how interesting his photographs were. And
Yeah.
they were really a reflection of his personality and how quickly he learned things.
He could like go in and out of. It was almost like living different lives. He he goes in and out. He's working full time. He comes over here. He did what he had to do here. He went and did his music.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so many different people.
Right.
Yeah.
And as part of organizing the month-long celebration that we had as part of the art show, he also brought in a vet to perform because we had a music weekend, and I remember Gil helping me get that vet an interview this year with the Hudson Valley Shakespeare, perhaps performing there. So he always cared about vets. He always tied his love of music, photography, and other arts into his life. And so he was really a great guy that way. And it combined the caring, but also his artistic talent. He really knew how to combine everything.
Jim, thank you so much
And
for coming to share.
that particular art show was it was on Veterans Day. That was our 40th anniversary.
Yes, I know. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for having me.
And a pleasure. Yep, this is that photo. Might want to focus right on there. This is a great shot of the two of you. There we go. Let's get that right. There we go. And this was at the 40th. And this was, how long ago was this? This is recent.
Last November
Last November.
on Veterans Day.
Yep. That's so Gil. Look at him with that shirt.
I know. His,
Gotta love that guy.
his birthday is November 10th.
November 10th.
Our wedding anniversary is November 11th. And my birthday is November 12th.
Oh, my goodness.
We were soulmates.
Well, our next guest is a person that Gil knew well, worked together very well with, a person I know who thinks a lot of Gil. John Borges, the director of Vet to Vet, and Gil was very active in that organization. John, good to see you, buddy.
All right.
John, I know you have special memories of Gil. Talk to us.
The best way that I can explain to people is that every once in a while, as you go through life, you have this privilege of meeting a special person, and Gil was that special person. He brought a lot to the table. There's a lot of things that people can say and do, but he actually did it. He fulfilled it. He brought it forward. His act of compassion, caring, whether having the group from MHA come to the veterans' residence and sing, whether or not it was showing up at the gala, or whether or not it was the chow down, there wasn't a task that was beyond him. He embraced it, and he did a lot of things and showed
there
up.
we go.
But he's one of those remarkable people that you're privileged in life to know.
There's the two of you together.
That's a very
Yeah.
nice picture.
And I tell people the world became a better place when he was involved, and there's definitely a void that's going to be
There he
there.
is again.
He was just one of those great people, and then he had the privilege of introducing me to Dee Dee and to Steve, and again, he also embraced the veterans' needs, and he helped me get introduced to you and to
Yeah.
meet people here at Comcast.
And the amazing thing about him is if you needed to count on somebody, it was Gil.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how many times I was in a pinch here, and he would say to me, I haven't been feeling well, but I'll be there. And he was. He was just amazing. Everybody else came first.
He did.
Yes.
Whether or not it was Toys for Tots, which somebody else is going to speak about, but United for the Troops, there wasn't a task out there. And again, many people can mention things. He actually brought them forward. He actually got involved and made sure other people were doing it. And even at the end, when he wasn't feeling well, he would still try
he
as hard
still
as he could.
would do it.
He was still there.
He would send me apologies for not being here to work with us. And and I would say to him, Gil, don't worry about us. Worry about you.
Exactly.
I worry about you. He said, I worry about
Exactly.
I say, don't. But he was an incredible person.
He was one of those remarkable people that you meet.
John, I appreciate your coming on.
Thank you very much for
to
having
talk
me.
about him. I know
We love you.
he
Love
thought
you
the
too.
world of the program, and he thought the world of what the vets are doing for us, and always felt that we needed to do for the vets.
The Vet-to-Vet program would not be the same it is today if it wasn't for Gil being involved
There you
in
go.
it.
There you go.
It's done a lot more, and it's taken off because of him. Thank you for having me.
Yep, thank you for being here. All right, we have another special guest. You know, you can't talk about Gil without talking about music. And you can't talk about music without talking about his friends. And one of those, Billy Flash. Billy, you had a great association with Gil. Talk to us a little bit about your relationship with him.
Yeah, I've only had the pleasure of knowing Gil for maybe the last 12 or 15 years.
Only.
as opposed to you folks that have
Yeah.
known him forever. But in those years, I had the good fortune of sharing so many or him sharing with me so many of his interests, so many of the things that he was passionate about, and the way he overlapped them, the way he intertwined them. So he and I met through music. We just had a once a month jam session at a barbecue place out on Route 6, we liked playing music together. There was a regular group of people, and we said, hey, why don't we offer our services to play for good charities, good community organizations. So we never wanted money for it. We never got paid, but we called ourselves the Second Saturday Band, and we would play for fundraisers, for Toys for Tots. That's a picture of the band right there, and one of the many incarnations of the band. We would play for the Elks Club Scholarship, the Rotary Club. That was at Relay for Life in Mayapack several years ago, and that was the Patterson Blues and Barbecue fundraiser. So lots of good causes that we would play for. And I'll say that one year, Gil said, let's do this for Toys for Tots. That was a big passion of his.
He loved Toys for Tots.
Absolutely. And he said, why don't we just play someplace for Toys for Tots, and everybody who comes to listen to us will have to donate a toy. Well, we decided to do that at the Brewster Ice Arena. And there's a picture of us the third or fourth year. The WHUD crew was there. That fella on the left side there, opposite the far end from Gil, that's Vinny Malillo. He's with the Brewster Ice Arena, and he did a great job of taking what we started as just a jam session, and between Vinny, Gil, and myself, we turned it into the Winter Celebration, which is a big event with entertainment and free ice skating and magicians and face painting.
I have to tell you, I went there with my grandchildren, and my grandson won the raffle with the Carvel cake. I'm not sure who was more excited, Gil or my grandson. They were hugging each other, going, "Hey, you won!" And my grandson had never won anything, so he was so excited. And Gil was excited for him.
And it was classic Gil that he brought together. He had veterans working at the event. He had the Marines present. It was music. It was his nephew Michael was there as an entertainment a magician. He brought all of these different facets of his life together in this one particular event.
Gil's message to the world, I think, is that when you have a passion, share it. And that's what he was wonderful at. Because he had a passion for mental health. He had a passion for the vets. He had a passion for music. He had a passion for children. He had a passion for his wife and family.
Absolutely.
And he shared that passion. He was such a perfect example of appreciating life and sharing it.
But one thing that I'm thinking about is people might be wondering, well, if Gil has done so many wonderful things in the community, why don't we know about him? Why don't we know his name? And it's because he never wanted to be in the limelight. He never wanted his picture
Billy,
taken.
you know how hard it was for us to get him in front of the camera here? It was like unbelievable. We even had to trick him a couple times, and we turned the camera around.
Well,
Here he is
I
here.
tricked him into that photo right there. I
Yeah.
told him to turn around because someone needed his help, and the photographer took
That
his
would give
picture.
him the turnaround.
That was at one of the
He
ice arena
would not
events.
let us. But I have to say,
Yeah.
we do have some wonderful photos here from Comcast. Jennifer, she kind of would sneak in a couple here and there.
Yeah.
But you're right. We couldn't do it without his knowing it, with his not knowing it. So
Two things I want to add. One is that I've spoken with people from the Brewster Ice Arena, and they intend to keep the annual winter celebration event going in Gil's memory, which is a beautiful
nice.
thing
Oh,
because
that is-
for years to come, thousands of kids will be able to celebrate Christmas. They'll get holiday gifts from something that Gil quietly started without any fanfare, without any attention, and it'll go on for a very long time.
Thank you.
I hear you. And now, you brought something here.
This was presented to me on the 9th for his celebration of life.
Wow. This is for Gil's celebration of life. A wonderful plaque. Let's see, I gotta make sure I'm in the right place. There we go.
Fern Drew, tell
Vern.
him it was from Fern Drew, from the American Legion.
It was from Vern Drew. He had it made up from the American Legion.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's another thing. The American Legion. He was very active there as well, right?
Yes, he played
Yeah.
shows for them.
Yeah. Wow. When they had that tribute for him, that place was literally packed.
I
There were
counted.
people there from all around. I just couldn't believe, and all of them came like the old times, bearing food.
Yes.
I walked over to the buffet table. I had brought a little something. I said, "Can I put this somewhere?" I thought maybe in the kitchen. They said, "Oh yeah, go to the other room." I went to the other room, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yes.
There was like food, desserts, and everything you could imagine.
Yes. I counted in the memory book, and these were some people that didn't get a chance to sign. And the people that did sign in, I think, what did I tell you, 94 names, 92, something like that.
Now, Bill, you actually played in bands with him. is
Yes.
that-
Yep.
Wow.
So, and one thing that that I picked up on was that he would take the music, he would take the band, and have us play at the VA hospitals with a great group called Rolling Thunder. That was
Yes.
a big advocate for the vets. They would have cookouts for the vets, and we would be the entertainment.
They were there as well.
They absolutely were,
Yes.
and they're very fond of Gil, and he made a big difference in their lives. He would also have Mental Health Association clients come out and participate when we were playing, or we would play for them, but he was always intertwining between music and Toys for Tots and veterans and all of the other different passions that he had in his life, and I'm truly blessed that he welcomed me into that.
Thank you. I know when we had our wills done, he said that he didn't want, he said, when my time comes, he said, I don't want an obituary. I don't want a viewing. I don't want a funeral.
I mean, that's so Gil.
I just want a party, and that's
Yep.
what he had.
Yep. It was, it was a real
Celebration.
Gil ceremony. It wasn't people crying at a casket. He would have hated that.
Yes.
It was people having a good time, and they did. They were there, and they were sitting around tables and eating and laughing and drinking. That's Gil.
And one thing I noted that day, which was a great event, you guys did a beautiful job of putting that tribute together.
Couldn't have done it without Steve.
I know that.
Thanks.
Was that Gil wasn't noticeably there. He wasn't physically there. And like so
Oh, no,
many
his
other
spirit
things,
was.
exactly.
Yes.
Oh, there's no question about it.
And so, although he wasn't front and center, although you didn't see him there, it was like so many of the other things that happened. He was in the background, the drummer. He was,
Yep.
quietly hiding behind everybody else, but
Yep.
keeping everything together.
That's right.
And that's what
That
he did.
was here.
Yep.
That's what he did here.
That's
He was
what
a director here. He knew what had to be done, and he made sure it got done.
He didn't want the attention, but he kept things.
He, Billy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing. I know you have warm memories.
Yeah.
We all do. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bill.
We mentioned the Comcast, and we mentioned
Thanks, Bill.
what he was like on the set. Well, no one knows better than Linda Shaw, who was the producer of about 100 shows that Gil directed. Linda, come on down. You had a whole lot of experience with Gil. Talk to us a little bit about what it was like.
Well, I met him when he was first taking the production class. I had already taken that the year before and was producing some shows, including your Let's Talk Writing.
Let's Talk Writing. He did so many of those.
And the first thing he helped me out with was a show that I was doing on home staging and real estate. And he just jumped in and he started moving the furniture and, doing camera. He was great on camera. We were both doing camera back in those days. But he wanted to learn directing. And I wanted to do graphics because we decided we would team up and be the control room people. So we came into the studio and spent many hours with Jennifer, who helped us learn the two things, Gil directing and me doing graphics. And so we teamed up on a lot of shows, including Vinny's shows and other things. And we had a great time. And he brought in a lot of musicians, individual singers, and one time he brought in a whole band, which took an enormous amount of elaborate preparation to do and set up with mics and everything. And he brought in Michael Bokar, the magician, and Dee Dee, his wife here. She was on the show a couple of times. And we just had a great time, and I just have missed him in the last few months when he wasn't able to be here.
It was so easy to depend. I have to laugh at the times when we couldn't get the crew together, a snowstorm or whatever. He always managed to get here. And there were times when you and Gil and Andy were the only people. Oh, there he is. Oh, man. I don't know how this happened. I said, Gil, we're taking a shot. He walked over and got to the shots. And I wanted to tell Jen, snap the picture, snap the picture. Because he would never do that.
No.
But, so this is precious to us because this is one of the few shots that he actually stood in post for. So it was a good thing. He's was an amazing man, and we could not have gotten as many shows as we did without him. He really carried the ball so many times. So that was Let's Talk Writing. Then we kind of moved on to one-on-one. And I know that Mario also did a lot of work with Gil. So Linda, thank you so much for speaking on his behalf. I know that you two did a whole lot of work together. Mario and Gil had a wonderful relationship as well. Mario, tell us about you and Gil.
It's interesting because of everyone here, I knew him the least amount of time. I met him here.
But you
maybe-
guys
maybe 3 years ago.
bonded right away.
I don't know why. It was like we were brothers from
Good
another
chemistry.
mother or something. I have no idea. But we hit it out. It was really him, you know. He
Yeah.
just had this.
Yeah.
He was
The
able
kind
to
of guy you
get
wanted to
right
be
you
around.
right away. He really was, and we hit it off right away. We talked, and we were musicians playing
Yeah.
bass and drums, and we said, "Oh, let's jam, let's jam." We never got around to it, but we always talked about it. We were always pushing each other to try to keep our spirits up, and but he was just so giving. He was just so kind.
Yeah.
And he always let you talk. He wasn't one of those people
Yeah.
that pushed you. You know, he would bring things out of you.
I know.
And-
He used to tease me about that, because he'd say, you have to come out of your shell more.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah. You too, Gil.
but he had the talent of doing that. He really drew people out, and I don't know. In the short time that I knew him, he affected me like no other person in that
That's
time
right.
did.
You didn't have to know him long to respect him. and like him.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I miss him.
The few neighbors that we have, every time one of us would leave, we'd look at the window because the other one would be there looking out, and we'd throw kisses to each other, and we'd get teased about it. Yeah, and I'd have to call him when I got to work and say, I'm here, all right.
Yeah. Mario, thank you, and thank you for all the work with him.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I think we have something very special. I think we're going to have an opportunity to hear Gil play. So I think we can make that happen. Jen, we have some music from Gil.
Maybe I should go back in there.
Oh! This must sound awful familiar to you.
Maybe second Saturday.
Oh God, look at him. It scared me. It's almost like wow.
He even took one of the bands and they went up and played at Woodstock.
Yes, for the 44th.
Socks don't even matter. I guess it don't really matter if you're caught in the pumpkin pie. I hear my shirt, I hear my hair, I hear you all over the place, even in my underwear. Hang around over there. Go get toy.
Had to be right.
Yes.
He was everything that a friend could be. An excellent husband, an excellent brother-in-law, an excellent vet, an excellent worker. Everyone who knew him loved him. Gil, wherever you are, I hope you're happy. Hope you're not running around like a madman, but I know better. You are. Thank you so much for sharing your memories with us.
Thank
Your loss is our loss. We'll miss him. But John Borges said, he's here.
Yes, he is.
Somewhere he's in this studio and he's checking things out. We'll miss him, but he was a very special treasure
Yes,
to
he
us.
was.
Steve, thank you for being here today. I want to thank all of the guests who were here. It's important for you to know that you do leave footprints. And Gil has left some incredible footprints for us to step in. Gil, again, wherever you are, thank you for being part of us and making our lives